to be able to implement change. So that means your management skill has to be good. You have to be able and not fearful of your team leaving because you're bringing in change. You're going to see some people that are like, I'm resistant, I don't want to do that. Then why are they with you?
Okay.
Right? And they're hard conversations to have. I was going to have a walkout, which means 50% of my revenue would have left overnight.
And
That's hard to deal with. I sold it.
And you adapted. And you...
Right? Or I would have rebuilt it, right? Either way. But some people don't. They're fearful of that. And part of... I read this years ago. I'm just trying to remember exactly how it was placed. If you're fearful of making a big change in your life that's job related or financially related, go live broke for a month. Eat macaroni from a box. Take the bus. Live poor.
This is Tim Howard, who's the founder of Vish, a pretty kick-ass business person and a massive innovator in the beauty industry, former salon owner. Tell us your bio. Tell us about yourself.
I started doing hair at 19 years old. Went to hair school by default. I wanted to do fashion design, and I moved to St. John's, Newfoundland, Canada from England. Mm-hmm. And there was no fashion school there, so I did hair by default because I was a straight male hairdresser. I got a lot of accolades and got attention without being good enough, which is very good.
How's that fair? Sounds like a lot of straight white men I've heard of.
Yeah.
So your
mediocrity, but yeah.
May you have the confidence of a mediocre white male. Ladies and gentlemen, Tim Howard.
Oh, that's so accurate. And then from there, I opened my first salon at 23. I did that. And then opened my second location at 30. And then I started working for Aveda, I guess around, I was around 30 years old then as well. And then worked for them for 15 years.
In education, right? As a guest artist?
Guest artist. I started out as an educator, then I moved to guest artist. And then I did everything. I was helping them with products and curriculum, all types of cool stuff. And then sort of midway through that path, I was starting to think about what I needed next. And technology's always been an interest. So I started shopping around my idea about Vish to every salon I visited. What are your number one problems? So it's funny. I was like, what are your problems at a salon? And it was between color waste and color inventory and towels.
What's the towel problem?
I just hated doing laundry.
Oh, okay.
It was such a mess.
Okay.
So I actually did my first foray was into towels. So I was looking to become a distributor for a company called Easy Dry. Mm-hmm. And then my friend Gerard at Hairbrain was like, how passionate are you going to be about towels? You're right. Maybe the technology will be the thing I do next. Excuse me. So
yeah,
I was doing that. I was traveling about 30 weekends a year, trying to get Vish off the ground. And then one of my staff, Aveda, told me was looking to open up their own salon. And I knew she would take half my staff. I was like, what am I going to do? So I offered to sell it to her.
Yes.
So she bought it, and she's still there, which is great.
How'd that transition go? That's a big deal.
It was tough. Like, honestly, I woke up every morning for 6 months with severe anxiety.
Existential dread.
This is who I am. This is what I've done. I've been successful. Now I'm going to go into a completely new domain, which I know nothing about. Heck, let's go for it. So
like fate kind of forced your hand. You've been working 100%. Kind of moonlighting Vish, and then this was a catalyst, which I love those. Mm-hmm. And it kind of ignited that fire to, you just jumped all in with the Vish.
And then the money, of course, from the salon helped me fund.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So we did that. So that was, I think, in 2016. I did that.
So you're coming up on 10 years. Mm-hmm. Did you stay on, like, were you retained as leadership for the salon or anything?
I was out.
That was it.
My salon life, I had 2 locations. I should have had 10. I was just realized.
That sounds like a nightmare, just for the record. Why should you have had 10?
Just because my ambition, my goals. Okay. And I feel that I knew that I was only okay at running the salon. I wasn't great at it.
Okay.
And then when it came close to the end, it was like a marriage that you knew had failed, but you just stayed in it for the kids.
Oh, weird. Never done that.
Yeah, me neither. So I just ripped the Band-Aid off, and I knew it was time for me to leave the salon. So that transition took about 6 months for from initial talk about the sale to the sale happening. And then I was, at the time, we had offices at the university, an incubator where we're trying to get the business off the ground. And we were graduating out of that. So I had to figure out what my next move was.
Yeah.
And there was a company out of Montreal, Canada, called Real Ventures. And what they do is invest in startups. It was a competition, Canada-wide competition. They picked 8 startup companies. We got in. They give you $100,000.
Shark Tank.
Essentially.
Okay.
But a little shittier.
Shadier or shittier?
Both.
Great. So if you're listening in, those who gave Tim his first start, he wants to say it's great.
Yeah, it was awesome.
10 out of 10 would not recommend.
So part of it was you have to come to Montreal with your team. So I had to go up and audition, and then I went back up again for another interview. And then they told me out of the blue that we got it and gave me a week. So the week before I left, they said, you have to move up here for 13 weeks.
Oh, okay.
So I was in a very good relationship with a woman, and I was like, I'll see you in 13 weeks. 2 weeks in, the engineers were like, we're never going back to Newfoundland.
That's a bait and switch.
So I was like, okay.
So now you live in Montreal?
I live in Montreal.
How about that? How's that woman? Is she still Newfoundland?
She doesn't talk to me.
Bye. Well,
yeah, she doesn't speak to me anymore.
Sad.
But yeah, so I was supposed to leave for 13 weeks. I left for 6 years.
Okay.
So, went around and did everything that the company needed. I moved to Montreal, then to Toronto, then to England to help the UK office. And then the pandemic hit.
And then what? Were you stuck in the UK? Or did you get back?
Well, we didn't know. I did. We didn't know what was going to happen. All of our business dried up. Mm-hmm. We stopped charging people for our software. And our investors were like, no money for you. We don't know what's going to happen.
Great. No big deal. So then this was a second phase of extreme anxiety, I'm guessing?
Yeah, it was.
Not as much? You hesitated.
Well, it lasted for a little bit. So part of what I did was I met a friend, and I left the UK, flew back to Toronto, drove across the border to North Carolina on the last day the border was open. I figured if I'm going to be off for who knows how long, I might as well be outdoors, not stuck in a city.
Love it.
So I did that. And then about 2 or 3 weeks into it, the pandemic, we were laying people off. There was just a skeleton crew of us. And I started selling salons. I started closing deals. And I was like, okay, this isn't over. And then...
Did you think your business was done? Like permanently?
I mean, it was like everybody who knew.
Okay.
Right? Who knew? It was before loans were given out. Who knew what the outcome was going to be? So then and it was actually Chet, Amber was here the other day. It was her husband was using Vish and started using it to sell kits at home for clients.
Yeah. Yeah. Right? Like a lot of people we spoke on when Amber was on the podcast, we talked about adaptability and how you've got to move and adapt to whatever's happening. And that would be a great example of it. Yeah. So you probably weren't in sales before, and then you all of a sudden took over sales. And
it was just one of the, I've always been in sales. I mean, from day one, you sort of wear every hat. And because I was the only hairdresser in the company, and I had all my connections with the beta, that's who we saw mostly.
Okay.
So, we just started taking off. Like it started to, not skyrocketing, but we were in business and we could hire some people back.
Nice.
And then the momentum started to shift.
How long did that take? Because I think
I want to say it was like 3 weeks.
Okay, that's a quick turnaround.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that hit a bump in the road and you don't know the future. We can't.
No.
There's so many unforeseen circumstances that come up, and it doesn't have to just do with what you guys hit during the pandemic, but a lot of people don't know how long they can sustain that or how long they can handle the uncertainty. And if you're in entrepreneurship, you have to be in it for the long haul, and you don't know if it's 3 weeks. That's a quick turnaround.
Yeah.
But also, you got to be very adaptable.
This company is almost, it's come pretty close several times. And I think the only thing that kept us going was we had no plan B.
Okay.
It was like, this has to work. So we did everything that we could many times throughout the journey of this company to make it work.
And have no plan B. I think that's worth pausing because there's so much power in having no plan B. And I think that's something that's worth reiterating, and you probably were scared out of your mind.
Yeah.
I mean, you burned all the bridges, you couldn't go back.
No.
How does it feel having no plan B?
What do you mean I burned all the bridges?
You burned the boats, you burned the bridges, you're done. You're like, I'm here, I'm on this new land. I didn't mean to burn the bridges.
I did some of that too.
Clear.
What research have you done?
My team in the Philippines does a lot of data scraping, and I have a full bio that we're going to read that
you wouldn't have had me on here if you had my full bio.
But no, we know about your stay in prison. It's fine. We think it's great to have people with colorful backgrounds. No big deal. It's season 5 of America's Most Wanted, episode 22. Anyway, but
Canada's Most Wanted.
Okay, whatever. Right. But you were in North Carolina for a minute, so that's actually when. But like, you burned the boats. Yeah. You were there, and that was it. And I think, talk to me about the mindset that goes behind no plan B, and just you have to be in all the way.
We just got so far in, it got messed over so many times. Like, I had original business partners who were both engineers. And
you trust those guys as far as you can throw them.
They just throw shit code and do anything to burn $1 million.
Oh.
So the code was unusable. We had to reform the company and restart.
That's enough to make people quit right there.
Yeah, we were against the wall. Like luckily the engineers are the co-founders, and they would work for free.
Okay.
And we all lived in one house, and we just worked.
Now that's a surefire way to really just solidify your business. You all lived together.
We just moved into a house in Montreal. We had a great time, but we worked a lot.
Yeah.
And we worked a lot, and we just did everything that we could to keep it afloat.
Okay.
Because we knew like this was a problem that everybody had.
This color waste.
Nobody was solving it. Not just a color waste. So color waste is a big part of it, but it's not charging for your services. The inventory being a mess. There's just so much data that we discovered along the way that like most salons are only making color off lightning or making profit off lightning services.
Mm-hmm.
So, and to look at technology, if you look at the color bar, and then you also look at the front desk and how POS companies, what they've done, it does not make sense that there's no technology on the color bar. So it's just a matter of
thing. Which you can't maybe see just up here behind him is our Vish, our iPad, and then our scale and our software, because we brought it on a little over a year ago. I will not tell you because I'm horrified at probably the extent to which I don't use it to its fullest capacity. But I want you to tell me a little bit about, of course it's going to change because Tim's here. Mm-hmm. How lucky are we, right? But tell me a little bit about so you start asking people, what are the common pain points that aren't being solved for? You found a gap in the industry, which is something that I've done as well. But tell me what Vish is. Tell me what Vish does. Anybody who hasn't heard of it, like what is Vish?
So what we do is we attach to your POS. We put equipment on the hardware. We put hardware on your color bar, and you just mix on our software. So we have a Bluetooth scale that connects to a tablet, and your team just mix color as they normally have. Mm-hmm. We just make it easier for them to mix. If they need to reformulate, if they need to mix more, we do the math. The only thing that we ask them to do differently is they put the bowl back on the scale. We call it reweigh, calculates how much color's left, and then we deduct it from the formula. That salons waste 40% of their inventory.
It's ungodly. And we're in a low profit margin industry.
Yeah.
And so, and if you can save 40% of one of, your biggest cost in supplies, that's tremendous.
Yeah. I mean, so 40% of the inventory is wasted. So it's 2 out of 5 color tubes.
That's also just grotesque for the environment.
It is.
Like, let's talk money. Of course, that's insane.
Yeah.
That's massive.
Makes you drive up your prices to your customers, which you shouldn't have to do that frequently.
Yeah. Also,
and manufacturing.
Everything.
Making it, packaging it, shipping it, pouring it down the drain.
Think about the environmental waste that I just going. So you solve for multiple things all in this process, which is pretty innovative. When did the idea hatch? And how long from when it hatched to you kind of presenting, getting the pitch together to what you were going to really do?
There's been many iterations. So I'd say 2012 it hatched. I actually pitched it to a beta. I was going to give it to them.
Oh,
foolishly.
How sad are you that didn't work?
Yeah, very sad. They so I pitched it. I was just like, but they're in the software business. I get it. So it was just a lot of, at the time, Bluetooth technology was not there in scales. So it took a little while to the industry to catch up, technology to catch up. But as soon as a decent quality scale came out that could mix to 1/10 of a gram, then I knew we were in
Get some
business.
traction.
Yeah, I knew we could start working on it. So we did that. My brother joined, who's the CEO. And my brother brought in a different skill set. So my brother's always been around me in my salon life, and he was working and doing a bunch of different other business jobs. And he came in, and he just came in sales at first and VP of operations. But then he started looking at the data as well and saying, okay, why is it that this is happening? Why have there no margins here? So when we went to raise money, he's really good at that, better than I am at it. So we switched roles. I focused on the innovation of the company, innovation of technology. He focused on being CEO. So more hats or different skill set. So where was I?
Just talk about where this idea hatched. Yeah, so 2012 was when the idea originated, and you had a couple of different iterations. You toyed with it. You got the scale dialed in, the Bluetooth scale. And then when did you have your product to market?
Well, we had it to market with the first iteration, the first version with the other partners. And we couldn't solve syncing, and we couldn't solve Bluetooth.
Okay.
So it just kept failing.
Yeah.
And we were losing customers. And it got to a point where everyone had stopped using and stopped paying. And we were like, okay. So we looked under the hood at the engineering, and we realized it was all
backwards
spaghetti code.
Oh.
It just a mess. So we severed ties and had to restart again. So that, I think we launched in the App Store 7 years ago.
Oh, okay.
So before that, we were doing like we weren't to the App Store, but we were installing, dealing some tablets. But, so yeah, I think we finally became a company about 7 years ago. And since then, I mean, it's been gangbusters. We've done really well. We brought out the latest version of Vish a year and a half ago. So back to the living with the engineers, we all stayed in the house, worked on the product.
It's like TV's Real World.
It was. No cameras open.
I was going to say, I don't think that we have any footage, nor do we want it, of like what that life was like.
No, we had a lot of fun.
You had a good time.
We had a good time.
So
like true bro tech startup.
It was like probably like a frat house with a bunch of not frat age boys.
What do you mean?
I mean,
Are you assuming my age?
I'm calling you all old.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Did I stutter?
This is how this is going to go.
Welcome to the podcast. I'm also working on my first book, How to Lose Friends and Offend People.
I think you've got that content already down.
I actually have the book done.
Yeah, you just need your personal assistant to work on that. Your virtual assistant.
Okay. So you're in the house.
Yeah.
7 years. And when did you move out of this house?
God. It was almost 2 years living together.
That's insane.
Yeah. And then it just became like, okay, we did enough work. We had the product out there. It was time to move on. And then I went to Toronto to work with my brother, and we had a team over there as well. And then, so we did that so the part of me living in the house with the team was really just kind of them digesting the industry, sort of brain dumping everything that I knew.
Yeah.
You know, a few other people influencing what we did, but it was really just sort of what my experience was in the industry and what my ideas were. So we did that we had that version for 5 years. We iterated several times, but then realized that it wasn't quite it.
Yeah.
There was a lot of things that we missed, a lot of extra steps. And I think generally hairdressers did not love using it.
Hairdressers don't, I was going to say, we don't, in general, and I don't want to be disparaging to our field at all, right? Because this is the world I love, but we're typically late adapters to technology. Yeah. Not even
depending on what technology, though.
This is a great point. There are people who
TikTok in their hands.
Paper books.
100%.
Okay. So social media notwithstanding, and I think a lot of stylists who are older or who've been around a lot longer, they are resistant to that. Yeah. I don't have TikTok. What are you talking about? The only reason I have Instagram is because I have an assistant who does it for me. But when we're talking about, like, there are people who still use paper books, people who don't have websites still, who are working robust businesses. It's hard to even fathom it. There might be a business right now that's appointment based that doesn't utilize online booking. That blows my mind. So you've got that and the extra time that it takes. And I think as an owner, I'm an owner, I own the space that we're recording in. I love the idea of wasting less product. I love the idea of saving money. I love the idea of paying more appropriately based on what's being used, et cetera. Yeah, I care about that bottom line, but talk to my team about it. They're going to like, this takes me 3 extra minutes. So you guys figure out how to like get that rolling and make it streamlined.
And that's because we didn't have enough input from the industry. It was just sort of, the engineers ran with what they think it should be done and then told us just to teach the hairdressers to do things differently. I'm like, okay, that's a mess.
And that's when you're taking interpersonal advice from engineers. And I don't want to insult that industry either, but
they're a unique bunch.
Well, I mean, listen, we all have our own skill sets, and I think it's actually really important to know what you're good at and what you suck at.
100%.
So
we went back to the drawing board about 2 years ago.
Okay.
Maybe 3 years ago now. And we just took in the input, look at all the challenges people had, read all the tickets from people, submitting what their issues were. And we came up with Vish 2.0 a year and a half ago now, which is a game changer. Like, I think I was there today. I was at a salon today onboarding, and I love to go in and watch how people use it, because then that's how we get ideas to, ask some questions and then see, how can we make further changes?
Reconnaissance.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We thought that Tim was here to really be helpful at Tantrum, and he's like just a spy. It's fine.
And judging.
Okay. Yeah. Excellent. Excellent. Would you like to do a guest feature on my book about how to offend people?
Chapter 1.
You can write the intro.
So yeah, the new version of Vish is just much easier to use. I think within an hour you get it.
Yeah.
Like, not just get it, you get it within a few minutes. But it's just, you can just adapt to it really quickly, use it really quickly. And then what else can we do? What are some of the things that we can improve in operations in the salon? So, we really focus on reducing waste. And then if there's more color used in a service, making sure that gets paid for.
Yeah.
20% of the services in a salon are not profitable. Your toners aren't profitable. Your all-over colors not profitable. Your retouch are not as profitable as they can. You have margins that are different on every service.
Right.
We correct that. We want to make sure that no matter what service you do, you're as profitable on that service. So that's a huge thing. And that's the sort of sustaining of Vish. That's where you see the sustained profit. That's where you see the growth.
And that's what makes it worth bringing it on, for 100%. Sure.
The waste is one thing, but it will flatline, right? You get to a certain waste level, and then why do you need us?
Right.
It's not just about recording formulas. So the ongoing value is charging properly, because if somebody comes 6 weeks or 12 weeks, booking time is not different, but the color is, the amount of color. So we'll monetize that.
Yeah.
What we just turned on recently is we just built an inventory feature. It launched first with Salon Centric. So now we can reorder color automatically.
Brilliant.
So we know what you need, and it's not based on mins and maxes only. It's based on trends, time of year, just data trends that we see, and we can intelligently order your color. So you're holding less, you're not overstocking, and you can
don't
order
have
more
money
frequently. You're not spending money
somewhere.
Exactly.
That's pretty brilliant. When did that launch?
Soft launch in January of this year.
And how's it being received?
It's incredibly received.
Yeah.
Incredibly well received. And then we're looking at retail, because it's still such a problem. And the POS companies are great. They can, you buy one, you sell one, you replace one. But it's the recommendation part. And we are busy as hairdressers. We're not good at asking for money or doing anything outside the scope.
Speak for yourself.
You're an owner. You're an anomaly.
I worked this way when I was a stylist, but yes, this is true.
But that's why you're an owner now. You're focused on the business. You're focused on the numbers. But most hairdressers. So Forrest did a poll recently where they asked a bunch of salon customers, where would they prefer to buy their product? And they say they would rather buy it from their stylist, but nobody recommends it.
Wow, how about that?
Right?
And 10 million salon owners across the country just died a little inside. Everybody would have a moment of silence where he's like, oh, there goes our revenue.
So what we want to do to correct that is we're building an app. It's a consultation app.
Station?
Consultation.
Oh, consultation.
Consultation. So what that does is before the guest arrives, they do the consultation. So they know, texture, type, density, condition of the hair, needs, color wants, all that has been done. Then when they come in, the hairdresser has that info. We know what their hair needs. We know changes to hair color. So if you went from red to blonde, we know what shampoo you need. We can send those recommendations to the front desk, and we can also send them home with the guests. And then we can link with Salon Interactive, and we can ship them to you. So we really want to help salons just generate more money without having to retrain their team to do differently.
Right.
Let technology work for you. We're looking at extensions as well, better way to track those. Yeah. So we're doing a lot.
Inventory, like you said, is just a universal mess. And you owned a salon for how many years total before you sold?
20.
Right. So you were dealing with a lot of these. And even if extensions weren't such a big part of business, then it doesn't matter. There's just so many different components that it's a lot to juggle, a lot to keep track of. Even on our, we're Cow exclusive with our brand. So we use Global Color and products. And then we have Orbe and KMS for styling. It doesn't matter. Like, even though we are so isolated in the brands we use, it's still a lot of work to track and keep inventory and flow. So that solves for a lot.
It is. And why?
A lot of the headache and hassle.
But why? Why do it?
Right. And even like you mentioned, POS for a lot of things, like we use Forest, different salon softwares are tracking but it's one in, one out. You set metrics. But this is just way to be more nimble.
Totally.
Why not leverage technology?
Who
knew? Because I don't know how to use technology, so I need smart people.
Okay, so that's the other thing.
I need smart people to live in a house for 2 years and come up with ideas and then tell me what I need to do.
Yeah, you should be, all your software should talk to each other. Forest should talk to us. We should talk to your warehouse. Like, that is built. Every other industry is doing it pretty much.
Right.
So it's just a matter of, we have a team, a big team. We have a great engineering team. We have a great internal team that's in support. We have 35 regional educators in the salons every day. So we have the capacity, and we have the insight to build tools that we need to. So that's sort of our direction with it.
You're asking great questions, and you're getting really better and better at your answers. That's pretty freaking amazing.
Yeah.
I love it. So I was about to ask what's next for Vish. It sounds like we've got this consultation app that you're working on. When do you anticipate that?
It's in beta right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So we need to get in front of people like you who can just pick at it. Who can just pick at it.
And I also love feedback, meaning I will pick apart everything.
I can tell that about you.
No, not in a mean way.
Well, no.
I give amazing feedback.
I'm sure
Unless
you do.
You were married to me. I give really amazing feedback. Sit down. I'm not done with you. No, I love that. And I love innovators. I love visionaries. I love things that are making the world better and solving problems. It's like making the puzzle easier to solve for people, especially people in my field, in my craft. So, thank you for asking. Of course, I will look at it and give you all my feedback. I thought you would never ask for me to pick something apart. Goodness sake, what else can I edit?
Get into?
Yeah. You're welcome.
Yeah. So that's sort of where we are next. And that's, it's a big task. It's a big undertaking, but it's pretty exciting.
Definitely.
And we're working with all the hair color manufacturers. So, we're just going to try to improve operations for a salon, free up a ton of time, and just find, it's unbelievable how much money you can find in a salon that's just being wasted or mismanaged.
Yeah.
I had met a salon owner recently who took on Vish. They were $1.5 million in debt when she walked into the business. Her mother was running it, not paying payroll tax, just keeping it afloat. Right? Juggling balls, trying to do what they can.
Everybody that I encounter, that's why I started my virtual assistant firm. Everybody's wearing too many hats. Things are falling between the cracks. There's tons of money left on the table. It's not efficient.
Quality of life. There's no quality of life.
Furthermore, the margins are too low for there to be quality of life, especially if you're leaving so much on the table or letting it fall through the cracks. And not to mention, like, a lot of us who do hair and own salons, it's because we're great at hair and art and people. Unlike you just happen to be a straight dude who did hair, and so you got
but I was still
you climbed the ranks. But I'm saying, like, the rest of us actually love doing hair and are good at it, and that's what we do. We don't want to mess with anything else. So
chapter 2.
You're the one who said it. I'm just really borrowing your word. Yeah, listen, I'm just reiterating what you said, and I only say the truth. So I think that's really brilliant. So they were 1.5 in debt.
So $1.5 million in debt.
Why would you even take that on?
She didn't know.
Oh my gosh.
Her mom said, I need you to help me. She was in business, and her mom said, can you help me? They had 3 locations, and maybe they had 4 in the closed.
And what were they doing in revenue? I can only imagine on the outside people be like, that's a successful salon.
Yeah. Well, it looks like it for sure. They're probably doing $4 million in revenue.
Wow.
At 3 locations, but losing money hand over fist. So she brought on Vish, and how she brought on Vish was really interesting. She said, look, if every one of my hairdressers doesn't charge for a toner, 1 a week, what does that mean for the business? That was $175,000.
Unbelievable.
That year, she lost $123,000. So directly related to that, she brought on and she said, here's the solution, because we will find those services that get made but not paid for. So the formulas for the toner, we'll track it. We know they get paid for at the front end. So I met with her a month ago, and this is the first time in the company's history that she's profitable. Yeah, it was like I'm telling it because it actually really meant a lot to me.
I bet.
It really was impactful, and we cut her costs by 50%.
50? Her color costs.
Her color costs by 50%.
Unbelievable.
And we generated hundreds of thousands in revenue that she was missing.
I mean, she showed that yet?
Yeah, well, I don't know. She's
close.
She might be debt free. She might be debt free.
And then she's actually gonna make money now.
Yeah.
Can you imagine working that hard, owning 3 locations,
a huge amount to turn around,
and losing money? But that turnaround story, how long did it take for that turnaround to be
I don't know.
Roughly, like how long did they bring you on? 1, 2, 3 years ago?
No, a year ago.
Okay, then that didn't take that. Yeah. That's 1 year.
1 year. Yeah.
That's
a profit.
That's a fast turnaround.
So it's obvious, right? And it's like, and part of what we do, like it's an obvious problem, but you have to be able to implement change. So that means your management skill has to be good. You have to be able and not fearful of your team leaving because you're bringing in change. You're going to see some people that are like, I'm resistant. I don't want to do that. Then why are they with you?
Okay.
Right. And they're hard conversations to have. I was going to have a walkout, which means 50% of my revenue would have left overnight.
And
that's hard to deal with. I sold it.
And you adapted and you.
Right. Or I would have rebuilt it. Right. Either way. But some people don't. They're fearful of that. And I read this years ago. I'm just trying to remember exactly how it was placed. If you're fearful of making a big change in your life that's job related or financially related, go live broke for a month. Eat macaroni from a box. Take the bus. Live poor. And I did. I was like, I'm going to cut that. It's not that bad. Right? It's not. And I know we have mortgage costs and children and all that stuff.
You could sell one.
Yes, you could.
Everybody has, except my daughter, most of us have 2 kidneys, but my daughter only has 1. So I keep both of mine in case she needs one. But you know what I mean? Like everybody has 2 kidneys besides her.
Yeah. Like how bad do you want that?
For real.
And that goes back to the no plan B. Like there's a way to figure it out.
Full send.
But also things align, right? I do believe in that. I believe that whether that's happening to you or your eyes are just open to it, opportunity is out there and you just need to listen to it and pay attention to it and look for it. So, salons that are fearful of making these changes, we don't lose many customers, but the ones that we do lose are the ones that just can't get their team to use it.
Okay.
But I would say to that salon, if they implement a dress code, the team wouldn't follow that either. So
it's bad leadership.
Exactly.
Or
no.
Maybe ineffective leadership.
It's ineffective, yeah.
What's the difference between bad and ineffective? But I
don't
like to label things as bad or good.
Right?
Fear-based. And I think that's that's a little bit more universal as well. Like if you're starting something out of fear, if you're leading with fear, you really have a lot less magnetism, fewer positive results, and you're blocked from seeing the opportunities.
100%.
Because the same people who are sitting here telling me about the success of their software company that could have died during the pandemic, but they turned it around in 3 weeks, which was astounding. Between that and then, you faced a walkout, which could have been devastating to your business, decimated it. You could have folded and lost your hope on everything.
Yep.
You found an opportunity and then you went full in on Vish. So looking at that, it's just looking at opportunities and finding making magic where things 100%. Could be falling apart for other people. It's a mindset.
It is. It is. And it's hard to stay positive. It's hard to, when you face adversity, that you keep your head up. You find those nuggets that make you happy and keep moving forward. It's really tough. Being during the pandemic when things were south and you also didn't get to see your friends and you were locked in the house.
I don't really have any of them. Remember the book I'm writing? So I don't really have those to start with.
I'm never directing that at you, just to be clear.
So those of you who have friends, as you begin losing them, it can be really hard.
It can be really hard. Yeah. So but Neil Dukoff, who is the head of strategies, coaching company, we would talk about this all the time in my early days. He was like, he would say to his people, it's hard. It's hard showing up to these meetings. It's hard putting in the work. It's hard doing the spreadsheets.
You know what else is hard? Sucking and failing.
Well, what's worse? Going bankrupt, right? So,
it's hard to get to the gym in the morning. Do you know what else is hard?
Yep.
Having a heart attack and falling apart because you didn't take care, which that happens to people who take care of themselves too. But you know what I mean? Yeah, it's all hard. There's always a trade-off.
And people are worried about losing their teams, but the people who aren't with you aren't with you. And if you got to fire somebody,
that's not your team. If you lose them because you're implementing changes that are bringing your business forward, you didn't lose your team.
Yeah.
You lost people who were never your team.
Yeah, couldn't agree more.
I like that.
Yeah. So, part of what we had to figure out was onboarding, and we have to be very hands-on.
Okay.
Because, like today, I was at a salon, and that's a lot of change. There's a lot of personalities, and we have to massage
in
that
a salon. There's a lot of personalities. Yeah, what salon have you gone to?
There's only one in this one because she's dominant.
That's why I'm on the road for my other business. So like the salon can have their own,
little breather.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. That's so sweet. I really appreciate that. Speaking of feedback. So you're at the salon, tons of personalities.
It's just the onboarding. It's hard. So we took that on. Part of what we do and what we want to continue to do is put somebody from Vish in a salon as onboarding and be there for that process. Okay. So whether I'm going to be at a salon, I don't normally do it, but I'm here in Arizona now, so I might as well make use of my time and be present. So
which is pretty hands-on. That's also like really hands-on leadership. I was astounded when we met recently and you're like, oh, you're in the area. Why don't we were data-driven together a couple weeks ago. And you're like, I'll stop in and make sure you guys are using your software right. I'm like, who does that? That's pretty significant.
But this industry is all about that.
It is high touch, but that also speaks volumes to how you're able to turn and have success so quickly, in my opinion. Yeah. I mean, even though you've had iterations and different setbacks, that's it's a massive testament to like the care, concern, and focus you put on the people that you serve. And that's huge.
Well, this industry does it, right? This industry serves people well. And I've always expected good service.
Yeah.
When I go to a restaurant, when I go anywhere.
And
because I deliver.
Yep.
So, and I don't accept bad customer service because I'll sing the praises and I'll also tell you who's shit.
Okay.
So, we're very good. Amber Pope, I don't know why I'm pointing over there, but Amber Pope.
Because she's always with us in our souls.
She's been an educator with us for a while. And she's amazing.
Right.
So finding people like her who can speak the language.
There's no one like her. Sorry, she's one of a kind. But yeah. Sure, she's everywhere.
She's not. How do you just insult everybody else but Amber?
Because she's amazing. I only tell the truth. I only tell the truth. Wow. I don't insult people. I just tell the truth. And if listen, I'm not that bad. So I want to know, how do you stay positive? Or when you're in the face of some of those things, you said it's hard can't always stay positive, but what do you do to get your head right? As an entrepreneur, someone who's facing these high demands, you're dealing with $1 million that was wasted with crappy code.
Oh, believe me.
How do you, if you're going to throw things.
There were some many dark days.
I'm sure there's a hole in the wall somewhere in that house in Montreal, right?
Yep.
But what's the story behind, how do you get your head right? Or what do you recommend for people who are branching out to entrepreneurship, business ownership, or doing something like taking that risk?
Yeah.
How do you recommend they get their head right?
It's a process. I don't know that everyone's going to be different, but for me, it's even that, aligning yourself with people who are willing to jump in and do the work and get their hands dirty and be there with you if you have a team. That's a non-negotiable. It's hard to stay positive. It really is, because so many curveballs thrown at you. And so for me personally, I have to exercise all the time.
Great. What does all the time mean?
Every day.
This should be like a walking podcast. We'll do that next.
Jiu-jitsu.
Okay.
Yeah. I started that when I was 48.
Okay.
Broken front tooth to prove it.
He was supposed to have a gold grill today. I'm sort of disappointed. He didn't know we were on camera, so no gold grill for us.
I didn't know we were on camera. I would have. Lift weights, run.
So you're moving every day. And you mentioned going outside in North Carolina during the pandemic. Okay.
I have to. That keeps my sanity. Because I'm a thinker, and I'm always thinking, and I'm running every scenario over and over and over again. And when you're in the thick of it, it's kind of hard. But when you start to see some success, you hear stories like that person's story.
Gosh, yeah.
I've had another salon. Somebody made a data-driven. They lost $30,000. So they discovered through Vish that somebody was stealing $30,000 worth of color in a year.
Oh my gosh! By taking cans home, by giving how?
Just taking it, using it.
Oh.
Yeah. Almost devastated her business. Or did devastate it, but she was able to recover. So it's that, but I think the reward of success, and not monetary success, but realizing the things that you think about become reality and how great that feels, that's the motivator.
Okay.
But also the motivator, I constantly say to myself, because I'm an overthinker, it's the outcome is never as bad as I think it's going to be. So keep going forward, right? If you
take the bus, eat macaroni and cheese, you were fine.
Totally.
All right then.
Yeah.
There's somebody's couch you can sleep on if your house gets taken away.
Yeah.
Okay then. And now what?
And now what?
Yeah. It's like, now what?
Oh,
like,
yeah,
you're fine.
exactly.
That's what I'm saying.
Exactly. Like
you're
what
okay.
is it worse?
Yeah.
Like I've been we've been where we can't make payroll. We've been where all of our customers cancel. Like we're on the upside now.
Yeah.
Right. So, I'm sure there's another curveball around the corner, but I'm much better prepared to deal with it.
Right. I think that's really empowering too, because as much as we'd like to think like, look at you, you've made it. Mm-hmm. Now it's static. That's really, it's totally a false idea. It's not real. And I think that the people that we see who look so successful or it looks seamless or it looks like they're handling it all, it's not because they didn't have the curveballs. It's because they just are consistently adapting.
Totally.
And then you're keeping your head right. So exercise is a huge thing. Is there anything that you read or anything that you draw inspiration from there?
Yeah. I mean, yes and no. Like I do read business books. I like biographies a lot. I like the biographies of successful people. Mm-hmm. I like to see what they went through. And I go through phases with what I'm reading or what audiobooks I'm listening to. Most recently, a book called The Art of Learning, which was the guy who's in that book who wrote the book. He was the kid who they made the movie Searching for Bobby Fischer, the chess master. Mm-hmm. It was about him. So he then went on and became a world champion in Tai Chi Chuan and then Jiu-Jitsu. And now he's teaching athletes. He does foil riding, on the ocean.
Oh, yeah.
So he's not like a world champion at that. So his thing is all about learning and how to learn.
How to hack learning? Cool.
More to how to tap into yourself to really, he said, whether it's chess and I'm trying to figure out that and get inside and get into that flow state, it's the same in everything that you do. So I think that is like meditative and really sitting back and thinking about and analyzing things in the right way and just pushing yourself, going for that championship or joining jiu-jitsu at 40. Mm-hmm. I'm all about reinventing myself. So who knows what the next journey is. Vish will be around for a long time. Hopefully I'll be a part of it for a little while longer. But yeah, I'm really excited. I mean, life's exciting and it's all really about what your next venture. For me, I don't believe in this. I don't know why I'm putting this, but I'm a Sagittarius. So apparently I've got wanderlust, but it really does. Like I'm always up for what's next, what's new.
Yeah. Yeah. I think some people can observe that as unsettled. And I would say that's really embodying a growth mindset. It's looking at adventure. It's having curiosity, and that does lead to growth typically.
Yeah.
Just fun to always be in a realm of discovery. Yeah. So I think that's really inspiring. I'm so excited that you spent some time with us today.
Me too.
Hanging out at Tantrum. That's where we are recording this. My beautiful home salon that I'm so grateful we have, and featuring, the shameless plug, the product placement in the back with Vish Scales here. We're so happy that we were able to bring your technology on and just starting, as I bought the business, incorporating more technology and then leaning into ways to find more growth in this industry and help other people. So thank you for sharing that, for sharing your passion, and for not giving up. Yeah, anytime. If you want your ass handed to you, come join us again. All right, thank you so much.
Oh, can I give where you can find us?
Please give us where we can find you, and then also we'll include everything that you shared.
Oh, okay. So getvish.com, and then on Instagram, Vish Salons. Yeah.
VISH.
GETVISH.com.
Easy. Yeah. I love it. Succinct.
Do you know where Vish comes from?
No.
So Vish is from Vishnu, which is the Hindu god, who is the protector of the environment and restores order where there's chaos.
How about that? Mm-hmm. I need a statue of Vishnu in my salon. I would like Vish.
How about that?
Just a little.
Please.
Would you mind? We'll just put it right on top there. Actually, and then Vishnu next to it. I would like
under me.
Perfect. To anybody who is observant and Hindu, I have no control over my guests today. All right. Thank you so much again for joining us.